Hello and welcome to I think it's about my 20th video actually. I'm really enjoying the Follow the White Rabbit project that I've got on here on YouTube, and I'm really grateful for everybody who follows, likes, shares, comments, and a special thanks to my supporters on Ko-fi and also Patreon. It's quite time consuming. As much fun as it is, it takes a lot of effort to put these videos on. So you've got me today, and I have shown you, if you've watched any of the knitting podcasts, this lovely jacket that I've made. And I do like colour work, and I do like stocking stitch, and I do like purl stitches, as you probably already know. But I made this for somebody 2 sizes bigger than me. And I don't quite know why I did that, but I did. So I sewed it all up to wear it as a jumper just to see if I enjoyed it and liked it, and I didn't. It just feels far too baggy, and I do love baggy jumpers. So I am going to do something called steeking, which basically means cutting up my beautiful jumper to make it a cardigan that I can wear. And I've done a lot of research, and I'm hoping that that I don't make too many mistakes. Okay, the postman's just coming, so I'm going to pause this video for a moment while he makes a clatter through the letterbox. Perfect timing as always. Here he comes. Oh, and the dog barks as well. How exciting. Okay, thank you, Oreo. Enough now. Anyway, so steeking, I first learned about it through this lovely lady called Katie Green from the Green Bean podcast. And she told me that you shouldn't do it on unfeltable wool. And superwash wool doesn't felt, that's why it's superwash, it's easy to manage. And then I watched a beautiful lady named Kate from the Last Homely House, Steeking, her jumper. And it's a really, really good idea, I have to say. And I'm really quite excited to learn more about this whole process of steeking. And she referenced this couple of guys who make a podcast called Arne and Carlos. All the links will be below, so don't worry if you are not following everything I'm saying. And they create 4 videos that show you the whole process. And then they also, last year, created another video to show for further processes they developed. So today, that is what I'm doing. I'm getting the scissors on my lovely cardigan. I confess I'm a little anxious about it. Yes, I've done my research, I've watched the videos, but I've never done it. So like new things, it always has its impact. So I brought along my little friend to help me and encourage me, because she's part of my comfort zone. I love making little creatures, knitted or crochet, and I just want her to give me a little encouragement. So she's standing here on my lamp, and she's going to just make sure that I don't get too anxious. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I am doing the final bits of knitting of the new placket. That is the bit where the buttonholes go. So I'm on this final stage, and when I've knitted this, I will come back and show you the rest of the next process. So here we have a buttonhole in process, and also the little bit that's going to be round the back where I've cut the wool. So it will look like that, and this will be at the back like that, covering up the fraying, hopefully non-fraying edges. So I will come back shortly and show you the next process. Thank you. Okay, so I've gone as far as I want to go, and I'm just going to leave this hanging, so that one of the next stages will be to sew this onto the actual jacket. And when I do that, I will know where I want my next buttonhole. My buttonhole is a bit messy actually, and I think that's because it's on garter stitch. I don't know, but I will sew that. I will embroider that so that it's nice and neat. So that stage is done. The next stage is to get some coloured thread and create a line where I want, for me, this is not what other people necessarily do, but this is what I wanted to do. The part of the cardigan where I have determined is where I want to actually cut. So I actually want the new placket to come to this point here. So I'm going to actually do a line of running stitches along the very line I want to sew the placket on. So I'm starting in the middle and leaving a whole load of yarn there, so I can literally just give myself, I don't know if you can see that, give myself a line to work towards. Now I've chosen some cotton, which is not very visible. That probably wasn't the right choice, but we'll see how it goes. And failing this, I'll swap it out for some thicker yarn. In fact, it's disappearing. So I'm not going to do it with this yarn. I'm actually going to do it with something else. Unless I actually do big stitches. Let me see, because it literally is only a line. Yeah, if I do big stitches, it works. So there we go. And all I'm going to do now is make that line up both sides of the cardigan or jacket. I need to determine what I'm using. And then I will know where to steek it, to cut it, really. I don't know if my nerves about this process has actually improved or not, to be honest. It's like, oh my goodness. But I trust on and Carlos as a model, and I think it seems that it will work if I am cautious. I'm going to make a determination here that I'm going to take it at the edge of my 2x2 rib. So here we have a little line that is the marker for where I want the final piece to live. That is not the marker for the steeking. So I'm going to bring the camera next time so it's actually on top of the work, and you'll see what I'm going to do next. Goodness, I'm excited as well as nervous. I don't know if you're the same when you're doing something new. And I know from a neurological perspective, there's very little difference between excitement and anxiety. So really is a bit of both here. There we go. I do find sewing meditative. I do. There was a whole period of time when I'd made a beautiful dragon for a friend out of quite thick yarn with a really small crochet hook, and it created an arthritic joint in this thumb. I couldn't sew or crochet for maybe 2 years, I think it was, and I just really, I would say, started again to be able to sew and crochet. But I did find that I could knit during that period, and also something called, I always forget what it's called, a form of crochet, which I actually do want to show you in one of my videos, so bear with me. Okie dokie. Oh, it's looking good. This is going to really, really help me not to sew the placket on in a straight line. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I don't know if you can, oh, you can. The way the light's on the window, you can see my little line. So if you imagine that's going to be there and the placket will be added to that next. So that's my cheat sheet, my cheat line. I'm going to close down the video and do the other side. And then I'm going to get my machine out, thread it with some cotton that is roughly the same colour as my jacket here. And then we're going to do some sewing on the machine. So I'll come back. Okay. Hi, I don't know if you can see me behind my sewing machine here. So the next step is to create a line of stitching that is long length, so it's on a number 4, and then coming back along the same row, the same stitch line with a zigzag, and that will hold, or being well, the stitches so they don't fray. So I am now going to start. I'm not going to make you suffer the noise of my machine, and I'm just going to sew. So I don't know if you can even see this. No, I don't think you can. There's too, although it's, hold on a moment. Let's see if I put a light on whether or not it gives you a visual. So the line of stitching, no, I don't think you can, but here's the line of stitching. I'm not putting my presser foot up to it because I want it to be 3 stitches across. So this is along this line here. So wish me luck, and I will be back in a moment. Well, that was remarkably difficult. Actually having non-contrasting yarn was almost impossible to see, to keep straight. And I think if I ever do this again, and I think I will do this again, I'll use a cotton I can see. So here we have, and I hope you can see, the line of stitching. Can you imagine? You see, you can barely see it, can you? Where are we? There. So this is what I was trying to do. And quite honestly, I was rubbish. Never mind. So next time I'm using contrasting cotton so that I can actually see what I'm doing. What I've got to do now is make sure that I cut it the right side of the line. So I'm just going to put the camera over this while I make my first few cuts. Terrifying. Okay, I hope you're enjoying this more than me. So bear with me while I just turn my camera over. I hope that's good enough for you to see. So here we have the line of stitches here, and this is where I have to cut to the bit that the side that I'm cutting out. So, and I'm going to take it relatively closely to that line of stitching. And oh my goodness me, this is not something that you need to be rushing at all, I don't think. And probably best if I'm not chatting to you, but I want to just show you where I've cut. And let's just see if this is going to fray. I don't think it is. I think we're safe. Marvellous. So I'm not going to worry about these lovely little ends. They're fine. I might trim them back, but I'm just going to leave nature and trust to the cause. So after I've cut, the next bit that we're going to do is we're going to sew this down onto here, ready for it to bend over and then be a correct placket. So there's going to be the jacket, the under bit. So there's going to be 3 layers of this, I think. 1, 2, bent over, yep, 3 layers of yarn. So this placket is going to be quite bulky. Arne and Carlos talked about steaming it or blocking it, and I will do that, so we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to cut without the camera. Oops, the camera's moved. Okay, and I'll be back in some good time. Thank you. Okay, being the impatient person I am, and probably around a little bit of my anxiety about whether this is going to work, I've made a decision just to finish one side of this jacket because I just don't want this frayed edge not to be secure. So I'm going to put my camera and you can see what I'm doing. Now, if this is of interest and you end up looking at Arne and Carlos's, he makes this whole process look so easy. Trust me, I'm not enjoying it brilliantly, but hey, I like the challenge, and I think that's the joy of learning, isn't it? That it's a challenge and you can make mistakes and it's okay. I don't want to make a mistake with this jacket because I really like it. So watch what I'm doing. I'm just going to sew for a little bit. Hope you enjoy it. There we go. Let's just... So what I'm doing is, again, using that purple thread that I had before, waste not, want not, is I'm finding the placket and the extension bit, so the garter stitch, which is underneath, which is what you will see, and also planting this frayed edge into what is going to be under this edge. So this is going to do this like that, and it's going to be anchored in. But I've also got, and I'm not sure about sewing, I think I might sew this by hand rather than what Arne and Carlos did by machine. I think I'm actually going to either put a row of crochet stitch in, which will look the same. I'm unsure, but hey, it's going to look good, isn't it? Ooh, let's just hope it doesn't unravel. Okay, it's looking good so far, so be patient, Susie, and do your job well. Even Arne's stitches were neat. Well, you can see these aren't, so practice makes perfect, does it not? Well, let's see what happens with this. This is just a tacking stitch, essentially, just to line everything up before that process of attaching the placket formally. And this was, I don't know, it might be wise to just give it a bit of a sew on a machine, actually. I keep forgetting to go up there, don't I? Joyous job, isn't it? I wonder what you're up to. I wonder what challenges you're facing at the moment, and are you being creative, and in what way? I think I was born creative, meaning that I was always interested in what my parents were doing in the kitchen, and it wasn't the time of DIY in homes, but certainly the time of decorating and painting and paint effects. And I used to love getting involved with whatever my parents were doing. And my mum was just a phenomenal woman in her own right, and my dad also, just really highly creative family. And I'm absolutely blessed with a highly creative family as well. And my grandchildren are creative, but mostly they're sporty, which I think is down to their, well, both their mum and their dad, but specifically my lovely son-in-law, who is just a force to be reckoned with. He really is amazing. Sportsman, dad, teacher. I'm very, very lucky to have such magnificent people in my life. You see, on this bit of colour work here, I can actually see the stitches. So I do think a contrasting thread for this particular roll is a good idea. I can't imagine that Arnon Kolos would ever be watching me do this, but he'll probably be having a fit if he did. I'd go, oh my goodness, didn't I teach you well? So anyway, hey, what's the worst that can happen? We don't know. Anyway, I am getting to the point where I have to carry on with my knitting and creating a buttonhole, I think, next. So I'm going to leave that and pray that nothing happens to it in the meantime. So I'll finish off my knitting and finish that off, and then I'll come back and show you the next stage, which is wonderfully exciting. Look, I'm so impressed with that. Oh, very, very nice indeed. Okie dokie. I'm really grateful for you being here with me, and I know that you will see this several days after I've been creating. I'm creating this on Thursday, the 11th of May. So you'll see it on Sunday. Well, bear with me, I'll carry on, and I actually might go and have some lunch before I finish. I'll be back, okay? So here I am, quite late in the day, and I changed my plan a little bit. So I'm going to just bring my phone over to turn over, and I'll show you what I'm doing. So if you remember, I created I suppose, a tacking stitch like that. But when it came to being, let me just bring some light onto that for you. I hope that doesn't interfere too much. When it came, excuse me, when it came to having a straight edge, it just wasn't working at all. It was a mess. So I am chasing up the lane, if you like, of stitches, and I'm going into the very first stitch or bump on the placket, and then coming back under. I don't know if you can see it because I actually can't see my phone now at this moment in time, and then down and going through, picking that next bump up. So I've completed this side of the, almost completed this side, the buttonhole side. Then all I have to do, and if you remember, that little bit of raggy stuff that I've sewn is there. And all I need to do now, as soon as I've finished that side, is come back and then sew this down very, very loosely so that it holds it. Do you know, I'm really impressed with this. I really like the way it looks. It looks more professional than it did before. And I think the 7 stitches of the garter stitch is nice with this lovely neat edging as well. And then it's going to look just as beautiful inside. I wonder if what I've actually done in terms of catching it over is going to be strong enough. So I'm planning using my wool to go. So here we are. Let me just tell you, this is where the placket the back of it ends, and that will be sewn down. So this will be sewn here, that will be sewn there, and my plan is to do a running stitch up through the middle that goes all the way through the back and across, and that will really anchor anything in, and I'm hoping reduce any possibility of fraying in the years to come. The wool I used is not massively expensive. I can't remember exactly how much this jacket cost, probably about £40. And, you know, it's beautiful and I want it to last a long, long time. So this investment of time has been really useful. And in terms of colour work, and this is why steeking is very popular, I think, is the fact that when you are doing colour work in the round, you can always see the pattern. But when you are in a reverse, a purl stitch, you're having to carry things through. It's quite complex. Now, I don't mind that complexity, but I do think it's easier to enjoy the pattern all in front of you, the face of it. So steeking is definitely my way to go. I confess I'm not that fond of superwash wool, and so I won't be actively using it again except for socks, I think, and children's wear, which is a different matter altogether. But I think in future, when I'm making a jacket, I will steek it if it's colour work. So thank you for watching. That is me for today. So this video is going to take more than one day to make. And my plan is to come back tomorrow and show you the finished job. So here we are, it's the next day. I have completed my task. I have steeked my beautiful superwash cardigan, and I am really, truly pleased with the results. It's really neat, and it is a little bulky, but I was expecting that. There are 3 layers of knitting here. So it's now going to be washed and it's going to be blocked, and I use the old-fashioned method of rolling in a towel and stretching everything out. If it needs more than that, then all I will do is just put a little steam on that just to flatten it. But I actually don't dislike that slightly lumpy feeling, and I've used, I think you can see, some really nice, very cheap coconut buttons that came from Lind Hobby, and I think it is wonderful. I've only put 3 buttons on it, and the reason for this is that I have hernias in this area, so I just don't like to tighten things over there. So just having a couple of buttons at the top, or 3 buttons at the top, just in case it's cool one summer's evening. And this is a summer jacket. I would definitely make it again, and I'll make it much smaller. It's still quite wide on the top here, which I'm not fond of, but at least it's wearable and it looks great. So thank you for watching. I'm going to do one more thing while I've got the machine out, and that is to create one more layer of stitching that will stitch all of these 3 layers together as a final support to make sure that nothing terrible happens to this when I wash it. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Do hang around, because there'll be a short meditation at the end, as there always is. And I really appreciate you being here. Thank you to my patrons for being so supportive. And I wish you a great week ahead. In fact, this week I'm going to be interviewing 3 people for 3 podcasts. So I'm going to be in advance of myself, which will be marvellous. So thank you again for being with me. I really, truly appreciate it. And see you in a moment for the meditation. Bye. So here it is, Saturday morning, and I am sporting my new steeped jacket, which I am so pleased by. And of course the sewing machine is out, here we are. And the house is in chaos, as it always is, because that's just the way I work. And I thought I'll do some running repairs while this is out. And I'll make a little video so that you can actually see the work that I've done in action. And I'm so impressed by all of the lessons that I've learned from Arne and Carlos and Katie Greenbean, and I decided that I will use this model even if I'm not steeking, because steeking is really good for colour work. I don't think there's a great need otherwise, to be honest, but that's my opinion. And I think I will use some things that Katie did and then use all the skills that Arne and Carlos taught me. So Katie, I believe she blanket stitched her raw edge, and she also used a fabric tape over the rough edge, which would definitely be thinner. And she creates these tapes, which I love, so I might treat myself to some actually. And Arne and Carlos, you know, they've given me all the confidence and courage to do this, and I'm eternally grateful. And I've never quite used, well, when I used to make, hello Maverick, when I used to make woolen clothes, my mum always sewed them up because she was so much better than me. And now I have to do it, and I've never achieved such a neat professional edge. So whatever I did, I'm going to repeat. Because it's just so much nicer than what I've ever done before. So thank you for joining me. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? And I hope you might have learnt something, or at least had a giggle along my journey. And do look after yourself. And again, I know I'm repeating myself, but do enjoy the small moments of presence. This oasis of calm is a really valuable 1 or 2 minutes that we can adopt into our day, and it will change the way we are. It's quite magical when we actually become present and stop and just be and breathe, and for a moment just turn off all that chatter. So thanks for joining me. Bye. And as you sit quietly, putting down your project or your cup of tea, and just taking a moment to focus on the air that comes through your nose into your body, all the way down. Imagine that it's going to your feet. Just chasing in your imagination the air going into your body and touching every single cell of your being. And then allow your eyes just to close and enjoy this moment of peace. See what thoughts just pop into your head, and see what needs attention and what can be ignored. And slowly, as you practice these moments of mindful calm, you will learn how to cut off all that chatter. And you can do this by counting your breath, using your imagination to take you on a journey to a beautiful place. Or into a memory of the smell of grass cutting, or the ocean, or the loam in a forest floor. Just taking 2 or 3 minutes every day, just like this, to be. And if you've got a pet, invite them to join you in this moment of calm. And they will share their wonderful energy with you. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and feel fresh and awake and creative and have this sense of purpose in your day. Don't forget to drink lots of water. Bye-bye.